Hey everybody, welcome back to Gaijin Gaiden. And I want to talk about something a little bit different than usual today. And that's the way how when life hands you like not such a great day or just an anxious situation in general, when you're in another country far away from your most of your friends and family, and you're just immersed in a completely different language and culture. That can really sometimes, unsurprisingly, just sort of exacerbate um, whatever's going on with you. Um, like for me today, today was a little bit of a rough day. Not terrible. I've certainly had worse. It's just one of those days where you've got a problem and it really weighs heavily on your mind. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of that. It's my problem to deal with and sort out as best I can. Um, but this particular problem is connected to certain events and situations in America that my ability to influence from here in Japan. I have actually quite a few options in this regard, which, in some other situations, is nice. But nonetheless, it's frustrating. I mean, that is kind of one of the realities here. Sometimes things that would be, well, perhaps not a snap, but much simpler when you have to deal with things from over here in Japan via email and websites and things like this, and particularly if there's a great deal of bureaucracy involved, it can make what's already something that's even under the best circumstances, if I was still residing in the U.S., it would be a kind of a stressful situation. It makes all of that just that much more difficult. Now, I've been through worse, and one way or the other, I think I'll come out all right from this situation. But still, it's the lack of control that comes from just distance can really get to you sometimes, particularly if, as I said, the people that you would maybe normally return to kind of support you are far away. Now, sure, we live in a connected modern age. I can call anybody, I can text them, but that's still just not the same. And when you kind of have these things troubling you and weighing on your mind, naturally you do reach for the familiar and the comfortable to sort of help stabilize you. And even though I've lived in this area for more than a year, and I have people I'm friends with and things like that, still, just being able to rely on some of the things that I'm used to back home and not having them be there, it can kind of just sort of add to that burden that's on your mind. And again, I've spent more than a few years of my life overseas, so this is something that I'm used to. I've been through this before, and I know one way or the other, it'll probably ultimately work out. I don't know if I would say I'm a person that believes that everything happens for a reason, but I have noticed more than once in the past something that I thought was a truly terrible situation ultimately led me to other led me to situations where good things did arise, where I would not have been able to take advantage of certain good opportunities if the bad things did not happen first. So, make of that what you will. I guess I'm just trying to say here is that you do have to be prepared for this when you live overseas, anywhere, and Japan is no different. These things are going to happen, and you just have to accept the inevitability of it and try to do find things around you that are familiar that can kind of help you to sort of cheer yourself up a little bit. Because even if it's a small thing, it can really make a big difference. I've been a little bit bad today and have drunk more than a little bit of soda, something I normally try to avoid, especially now it's 2018 and I'm trying to lose some weight, but today I have knocked back more soda than I have in quite a while, uh, which, well, soda, of course, isn't that great for me, but I think I'm doing myself a bigger favor than if I had been drinking beer or something instead. I suppose as vices go, having like 3 sodas in a day, no, 4, well, certainly not great for the old calorie count, is a fairly minor vice. Excuse me. I also kind of have been just sort of using some of my free time today to just relax and watch interesting videos on YouTube, which is probably one of my absolute favorite ways to relax. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm choosing to get through things today. Taking a day off from studying Japanese and just sort of like just okay. Um, oh, excuse me. Wow. Um, just sort of okay. I've done enough on this difficult situation. It's time to step away. And I think doing that, like I've kind of promised myself, I'm going to try not to look at my emails anymore tonight. The other night I was working on this particular situation, and like I got an email response from somebody back in the States that my time was like 12:15 a.m. And I'm like, well, if I email them back now, I can maybe get some more information on this. But I'm like, you know what? No, I need to go to bed. I'll deal with this later. And you do need to do that. You need to know, like, set a self for your time and just sort of like step away from the problem. It's like, okay, from now on, for the rest of the evening, I'm not going to deal with this. I need to get a good night's sleep. And no matter what's going on, yeah, definitely get yourself a good night's sleep. So I apologize if this video is a little bit rambly. I really debated whether or not I wanted to talk about this particular situation or just something else. But I think this is something that people do need to hear. I mean, just understand and remember that when you're overseas, sometimes things are going to be more difficult. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but you just have to accept that as part of the price of being here, and that so long as you control the anxiety, you don't let it control you, then at the end of the day, you'll probably be all right. So with that said, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can join me on Twitter at Gaijin Gaiden. Also, please join me on Tumblr at Gaijin Gaiden. Until next time, take care and have a good one.